Good morning, Upper Ottawa Valley and Ontario, Canada, USA, and the whole internet, the whole world. G'day, how you doing? 11 February. It had been pretty mild and threatening rain. We didn't do too bad with the rain, but some wet snow put a skiff of ice all over everything. And last night we got more powdery snow. So it is the minus teens today, and it's supposed to get up to possibly -1 Celsius or 0 right on the freezing mark. It's going to be a beautiful day. I'm just showing you my breakfast here. I'm pulled over in Petawawa to the entrance to the back gate of the army base just to do an intro. I got my Gouda here, my Dutch Gouda, some kind of Ukrainian loaf, German pickle. We got all the nationalities of food here. My homemade banana bread. Don't throw out your old bananas. Make banana bread. It's super easy. You can do a lot with it. And some fruit. Yeah, all the nationalities here. So we're gonna eat that. We're gonna head deep into the west end of the Upper Ottawa Valley to Stonecliffe. We're gonna park at Stonecliffe. And there's a back Adelaide Road or something like that that kind of follows the old railway bed, and it goes to Bisset Creek. And I'm gonna check a lake there that shall remain unnamed rather, because it's heavily stocked with speckled trout, brook trout. I'm not fishing today. My colleague and I were planning on it, but he was awful worried about slush, and he's probably right. But I gotta scope out this lake, go for a ride on the Husky, and just enjoy and get some sun on my face, and try and punch out the winter blues. And yeah, scope the lake, go for a ride, see what we see. I don't know if there's any abandoned stuff out there. Actually, at Stonecliffe there might be something to show you, possibly. It depends on the depth of snow to get to it. And that's about it. A long ride, sunny day. Yeah, change of plans. We were hoping to go fishing, but it didn't work out. So maybe next week, if I can get a good read on this lake and figure out if it's slushy and overly crusty on top, it should be froze pretty good. Little lakes freeze better than flowing water and rivers and stuff. Nobody's goofing around with rivers this year. It's been too up and down with the temperatures. Or if they are, they shouldn't be. Stay off the rivers. So I'll see you in Stonecliffe. Let's see where the day goes. Out.
There's a grasshopper sitting on a railroad track, wada through the long day.
When you drive west, you have to go through the base training area. The highway goes through it. Kind of splits it in half or 2/3. Maybe 2/3 to the south, a third to the right, to the Ottawa River. Kind of a no man's land between Petawawa and Chalk River. And notice the big orange balls on the hydro wires? That's because they have 2 chopper squadrons in Petawawa. Big Chinooks with the twin rotors, and then the regular Griffins. That's so they don't hit the wires, just so they're good and visible. Because they do a lot of, I guess call it tactical flying around here. And London Bus Ice Cream, Deep River. Deep River was built when AECL, or what it's called CNL, was built back in the 40s. They built the town of Deep River, basically. Canadian Nuclear Research Laboratories. So that employs the majority of people in this town. Unique little town. It's well serviced, high taxes, but it has lots of clubs and sports fields. It has a ski hill. It's ranked by something 4th best place to live in Canada or something crazy like that, because it's kind of a surreal little isolated pocket. It has its own police force and fire hall, and it's only a town of 5,000 or 6,000. It's Kind of weird. 20 minutes from Petawawa. When you drive on the highway, you're not seeing Deep River. You're seeing the motels out on the highway and stuff, but the town is actually off to the north of the highway, where all the residential houses are and their tiny little triangular downtown. Not really the kind of place for me. I mean, it is a fantastic, peaceful little place, but a little off the beaten path for me. I'm more partial to the Pembroke and Petawawa area. Almost twin towns, almost attached. Just a little more amenities and things. But still, the outdoors are at your fingertips. Old church not used there anymore. That was for sale. Would have been dirt cheap. Back behind me up the highway, you've seen the campsite Pine Valley. That's the one my parents owned when I was a teenager. We're in Stonecliffe. This is the abandoned Stonecliffe Hotel. Had a tavern in the basement. Would love to get inside that. In the village of Stonecliffe, not much of it left. There was a town hall. They used to have dances when I was a teenager in the summer. You know, like a ball tournament all day and then a dance in the evening. Old school stuff. That's where all the girls would go, so me and my chum would go there. Dance the night away with our beers we would have snuck off of our parents. And actually one of those nights we came back here and we went down in the bar and nobody stopped us. And we bumped into my parents. Surprise, surprise. They were down there partying too. They let us stay. I don't know if they let us have a beer or not, but fun times, different times. Okay, on we go. We're gonna go down the rail yard in Stonecliffe. Trailside Cafe. Well, isn't that interesting? It seems the town hall slash now library these days has a little cafe going on. Place to stop when you're snowmobiling. Community center. That's cool. Breathing a little bit of life back into Stonecliffe. There's not much here. There's this logger dude here who has a rather rundown, unfinished shop. Tons of equipment and abandoned vehicles. We'll take a look at that when we come back. We're just going for a quick jaunt down to the boat launch here. So Ottawa River. These days you're best to stay off the Ottawa River if you're on a snow machine. Winters are not what they used to be. There used to be a fire tower up here somewhere. We used to come to the Ontario side, that's Quebec, with the little 12-foot boat. My cousin, my chums, more than once. And we would eyeball, because it's kind of a two-tiered hill at least, eyeball where the tower was. It was abandoned, but it still had some stuff in it like the map and things. But you could climb up in it, and we would eyeball it and boat straight across and just use our best judgment in getting up there and finding it. And we always did. One time I had to climb a tree pretty tall, and we were so close to it, I was shocked. I turned my head and it was like right there. Good times, free times. So the original Stonecliffe is actually, there's footings of houses and foundations in the water down there, and old bottles and things. I've seen some videos online of divers. This is all flooded considerably more than it originally would have stood because of the dams that were completed in approximately 1950. So Stonecliffe proper is behind me. What's left of it. Would have been more odd farms and things back in the day around here. This is not a farming area, this is a bush logging area. But you know, everybody had their little homesteads, their little farms. Mostly all growing in. But there are more cottages, more houses built, tucked away. Beautiful area. Pretty remote though. Long way for groceries. Oh, there goes the bushman hut. So we parked back at the cafe slash library slash community center. So this is the old railway yard, believe it or not, of the tiny hamlet of Stonecliffe. So maybe back in the day when the village was where it is underwater, it had a bit of a little railway station house. But in my day, in the 80s as a teenager, we just had sheds, machine sheds, and maybe a cabin for the workers to sleep in and stuff. Everything's gone, everything's tore down. If you come down the road from the highway, from the gas station in Stonecliffe, straight down, this was the old railway yard. And down the berm, down the hill here, the ditch, it's full of railway garbage, where they threw their oil cans and drums and all kinds of stuff. Just a disaster. So there's lots of stuff to pick through down there in the spring or late fall. I found an old McDonald's soda bottle from North Bay from the 1950s down there. It's pretty cool. Real cool and boss bottle. I also found a glass battery. If you know what a glass battery is, just check it on the internet. They were probably for a radio or something for the railroad, but they're really beautiful. If you took them apart and took the lead out of them, and assuming there's no acid in them, they make a nice decoration. Probably 1920s, 1930s. It was broken though. Shamefully, it was broken. Really cool though. I wasn't aware of glass batteries until I found it. So lots of stuff down here to pick through. If you keep a keen eye, I found one little treasure. And there's a berm here somewhere that goes out to the river. The snow is deep out here. I'm going to try and find it. I believe it's an old pump house. It probably had electricity running down here. Well, it does. There's poles. And they probably powered a pump house to bring water to the old steam engines, the steam trains. It's an old concrete building. I'm gonna try and find it. Stay tuned. Oh, it's hard walking through the snow. I gotta open up some clothing here. Oh, maybe I should leave my coat. Anyway, if you drive straight down the road, the berm to the abandoned building is pretty much straight in line with it. And the snow is deep. Why am I doing this? So this is a significant berm. You can't make it out from the skidoo trail, or the old rail trail, but it's in here. And we're gonna work our way there. I'm gonna put this away. So there it is. Not too far in. It's a cinder block building with a cement slab roof. Down below the berm is a trail. I thought maybe it was a deer trail, but it's got to be somebody's snowshoe trail. People that live or have cottages over by the boat launch. There's an orange tag on a tree there, so a little bit of a personal marked trail, I think. Very nice. Winds through the trees. Here's the old, I'm convinced, pump house. No other reason for it. I can't say I even knew this was here when I was a kid. Since I got into picking and exploring and metal detecting and stuff, I've got more of a keen eye for the lay of the ground, where things might be. They liked throwing things over berms and hills back in the day on farms and industrial areas, out of sight, out of mind. So anyway, let's check this out. It's just a tiny shed, not much to see. First thing I'm going to look at is this cool old light. Those things have value, actually. People buy those from antique stores. Big old bee's nest, wasp nest. Yeah. And here is the pump house. Somebody left a shovel. Nice manure shovel. A chair, a hard hat, CP rail. That chunk of plastic's darn near an antique. Isn't that cool? So a big, thick, old concrete slab floor and a concrete slab roof. It does have a subroof ceiling here, a ceiling of wood that's getting rotten because water's inevitably leaking in. Here we have a chimney. So yeah, they would have kept this heated somehow back in the day. I don't know if somebody's duty was to keep a wood stove going, probably oil. We have a big mount here for maybe a pump. Canadian Ingersoll Rand. Yeah, Ingersoll Rand, makers of pneumatic tools. Used to be pretty popular back in the day. Electrical boxes. Any electricians recognize this old technology? Then we have the piping. The great big pipes. You could probably assume there's an underground pipe going back up to the rail line area. And perhaps they had a water tower tank like the old days. Well, they would have had to keep those heated too in some way. So probably pump mounts here, maybe motors. Might have had a backup motor for a pump, an engine. Yeah, fascinating. That's about it, folks. And again, really hard to see from the river. So the intake pipe would be in here somewhere, going out to the river, to the deep part. Isn't that cool? All right, let's get on this trail here. Take it back a ways, back on the berm, back to the Husky. Header for Bisset Creek. We got a long drive. What a lovely day. So I just spun this buggy around. I took the sled off and turned around. I went off the Calder trail. I left the main trail way back there, and I got on the old railway berm, and nobody's really using it except for the deer. And the Husky's having a hard time staying upright. It's getting sucked into the deep snow, so I'm gonna head back to the main trail, and I have to cross the highway and maybe go to Bisset Creek like that, because this is not doable. This is too hard. I would need a powerful lightweight skidoo to plow through that. I just stopped here because there's some rusty gold. See the truck cab? The old truck cab. Now we can't see much, but it's 1940s or very early 50s. I'll have to come back to the ATV and have a closer look in the spring. I was just talking to the trail warden at the highway when I crossed it. Much better on the Groom Trail. He didn't seem to mind I was on here. He didn't say nothing. Lots of skidooers out today. There's an old Ford truck. 1980s. Can't make it out. 1980s Ford. Somebody's property must be up this way somewhere. I could see some other iron junk in the woods here. This is near Grants Creek. Oh, here's another one. This is cool. Yeah, I gotta get back here someday. There's rusty gold in here to look at. The old trucks are like a museum to me. I'm guessing that's a Ford. Looking at the back window, seems kind of familiar. There's another old Ford. There's a General Motors product, Chevy or GMC, and some more. Wow, there's lots of stuff in here. Oh. It's really hard to walk. There's a bunch jammed in here. There's a station wagon. Oh yeah. There's some history in here. I gotta get back here. Gotta film this in the spring. Oh, Lord, thunder and Jesus. Oh, it's hard to walk through that deep snow. So what I should do is come back in the spring and stop by and take a good look at this stuff after the snow's melted. As you can see, it's a bit old because there's some old stuff, so if we really prowl around the woods, we might find something neat. But first we'll have to make sure we're not intruding too much on somebody's property. I'll have to go out to the highway and see if there's a house there. All right. Whew, catch my breath here. Let's get going. Got a long way to go. Bisset Creek. A little more down there. Not much going on. So we left the main trail quite a while ago. It pretty much hits the highway at Bisset Creek. Bisset Creek is only a handful of houses and cottages. There's no businesses. It's almost a ghost town. It's where a big giant iron train trestle crosses the highway. They don't use it for trails though, it's closed off. So I just passed through a pine plantation coming up the old train line, and I'm on what snow machines I've used to get into the interior in the bush here. I can assure you that pine plantation at one time, when Bisset Creek was more of a rail stop and a village, that would have been pasture land, most likely, for maybe many people's little farms or multiple farms. Just those type of farms where they wanted to make some oats and hay and feed their cows and their horses, the horses that worked in the bush and did logging. And down below here, we're going to pass through this on our way to this lake that I'm going to scope out, is some pines poking back up there, growing back in. This, I'm sure, would have been all pasture. If you look on the maps, it looks kind of bare. It's starting to grow in. So it would have been a remote farm as well. Amazing where they were. Like, they weren't really there for large commercial purposes. They were just pioneers, settlers, trying to open up the area. Everything's rotted and gone. There's no farming goes on around here anymore. But they grew out of necessity. They grew what they needed. Maybe they grew a few root vegetables to sell to the logging camps, but mostly it was hay and oats and simple cold weather crops like that. Okay, we're I suspect a couple of kilometers from this lake. We're gonna try and get in there and scope out the ice, see how it looks. Oh, I meant to film something. I was at the lake, the little lake. I found it. I just missed the turn. I had to turn around on the, what we'll call the main trail. And as I was doing that, a couple of skidooers came along and pulled into this little trail behind me, going towards the lake. Thank goodness, because they broke it down a little bit, so it's making it a little easier. Anyway, I wanted to film out there at the lake, but I didn't want to be talking to the camera and looking like a YouTube moron. So it just dawned on me, I didn't say anything. So the lake is full of slush. It's pretty slushy. The guys were reluctant about whether they're going to fish back there or not. A bunch of French lads that I met. But I think they decided to give it a go. There's lots of ice to stand on, to park on, but there is at least a half a foot of slush on top. So we're gonna work our way back. On our way back still. So now we are in the bottom part of where surely a field would have been, and all these spruces are growing back in, I assume on their own. And we're going up top there, top of the ravine, back to the pine plantation, and most of that would have been some sort of field at one time too, cut out in the wilderness. Fascinating. So the old Honda's either giving up the ghost, which is a good spot to happen because I'm not too far from the highway, or I'm out of fuel. So I've got my fuel can out here already. It's got the screen thing in here. You can't see. I'm just gonna put in a bunch of fuel. Been giving her a lot in deep snow and have gone far. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's out of fuel. That was quite a bit. I only had a third of a tank or so. If it's not out of fuel, we are in trouble. Not big trouble, because we don't have far to go. I'm sure somebody would tow me back out to the highway and I could pick it up. Seems to be a lot of sleds out today. Let's try her out here. Come on, baby, don't say no. I'm back in the saddle again. Off we go. Pee break. Oh. Well, I'm getting cold. I don't think this area reached the 0 or -1 Celsius that potentially Pembroke and Petawawa was to get. I wonder if they did get it. A little colder here. This is the Trans-Canada pipeline right here, the gas pipeline carved through the wilderness. Goes a long way. I've been driving on it for a bit. It's about a kilometer or two of driving on it, the Groom Trail. Further that way is the transmission hydroelectricity wires, the big ones that run cross country. Probably, I would guess, out of the Swisha Dam, the Ralston Dam. Here's an old jalopy in the woods. I suspect it would have been just a bush buggy somebody brought out here to rip around and beat up on, and they probably landed there and couldn't get out. Bunch of drunk hunters or something. A couple of skidoos just went by. What do we got here? It's rusty. It's a 4x4. 4x4 didn't get you out of there though, did it? I think it's a Nissan. I do believe. Wheel well's so rusty it's hard to tell. It's got that square look to it. I used to have an extended cam Nissan. I think that's what it is. Neat. And this is close to, oh, there's a big skidder tire there too. Somebody dumped off. Litter bugs. This is near the pile of junk that I showed you on the way in here. Well, maybe a kilometer or two away. So I don't think it belongs to that pile, but interesting. Okay. Got about another half an hour of riding to go. Well now, thus endeth thy day on thy great Husky snow machine. It was a good day. What do we got here? 1549, 349. So, being on those trails again, that really gives me the bug to get a snow machine again. Gorgeous girlfriend will be so impressed. I don't know, it'd be nice to just leave the house on a snow machine and ride those Groom trails and maybe do an overnighter, or get to something a little quicker and do some filming. Yeah, I'm thinking of maybe liquidating this Husky and getting back on just a lightweight sled, an old aluminum one, like a Yamaha. I like my Yamahas. A 250, a 340, something mint condition. Maybe we'll see what we can get for this sucker here, and yeah, just being on those trails again, it would be nice. I don't want to go fast or nothing. I just want to go places. With retirement coming up, I'll have more time, at least for the first year anyway. Well, we'll see what happens. So the little lake by Bisset Creek, I followed some other snowmobilers in there. And yes, full of slush. My colleague that I was going to come out fishing with, his educated guess that it would be full of slush, he was absolutely correct. And that's why those plans got canceled this morning. We didn't think it'd be worth it. It was doable. I mean, there was plenty of ice, but there was a good amount of slush. It might have been wet and sloppy. And this kid was sick this morning, so it's just as well that we canceled before we made hard plans to actually go. It was a nice day, lots of sleds out there. More than I expected nowadays, but people are still out doing it. Some are going a little fast. They're cutting the corners tight when they come around the corners. They're on my side and they got to correct pretty quickly. If you're a snowmobiler, stick to your side and follow the rules and don't drive too fast. Stuff happens. Stuff happens every year. People get killed, people get hurt. So that's it. I'm Cactus. This is Out and About on another little winter adventure. Trying to keep busy, trying to get out of the house. Nice sunny day. It was gorgeous. Okay, till next time. Not sure what's gonna happen. I sure miss summer. Last night we were watching so many videos, gorgeous girlfriend and I, on these professional YouTubers on Bali and Thailand. And oh boy, would I ever love to spend the winter there. We'll have to win the lottery or something, or get really good at this. All right, till next time, take care. That's it. That's all. We are wrapping it up and heading her home. Stonecliffe to Bisset Creek via the snowmobile trails. Simply lovely.